Welcome to the deep dive. We're looking today at some really quite chilling source material. It's about this dark narrative unfolding in an English maximum security hospital, one for the criminally insane, starting back in the summer of 1959.
Yeah, it's a potent setting. You've got this stark contrast, right? The very rigid professional world of forensic psychiatry clashing head-on with the sheer violence and, frankly, the unpredictability of the patients inside.
In this deep dive, it really tracks the explosive fallout from one specific event, a forbidden affair.
Exactly. And we're seeing it all unfold primarily through the eyes of our narrator, Dr. Cleese. He's a colleague of the hospital, an observer, but maybe, just maybe, a participant too.
Okay, so our mission today is to unpack this whole tragedy surrounding the doctor's wife, Stella Raphael. We want to really get into the psychological drivers, what pushed her from this life of, well, relative asylum elegance into being a fugitive.
And then back again, ironically, into the institution's control. We need to look closely at the sources to figure out who was genuinely grappling with madness and who might have been, shall we say, more calculating.
Where do we start? The core relationship.
I think we have to. It all begins with this central triangle at the asylum, and this is right after the Mental Health Act had passed in 1959, which is contextually important.
Right, so point one on the triangle. Max Raphael, he's the deputy superintendent, and Dr. Cleve, our narrator, doesn't pull any punches describing him.
No, he really doesn't. He calls him reserved, melancholy, lacking
Mhm.
imagination is a big one, and just plain weak.
Plus, that detail about his affection for all things Victorian, it paints a picture, doesn't it? A man maybe stuck in the past, a bit rigid.
Definitely rigid. And, we have to question Cleve's perspective here from the outset. Is he just observing, or is he setting Max up to fail in our eyes?
That's a good point, because then he introduces Max's wife, Stella, beautiful, headstrong, married Max when she was barely out of her teens.
And here's that crucial bit of narration from Cleve he observes, internally, that Max was not the type to satisfy a woman like Stella. Now, is that a clinical observation?
Or just judgment, yeah. It feels like Cleve is already writing the script for disaster, maybe even subtly justifying what comes later.
Could be. And the third point of this triangle, the real catalyst, is Edgar Stark.
Ah, yes, Edgar. Dr. Cleve's own parole patient. An influential sculptor, but convicted of murdering his wife, Ruth.
And the motive, morbid jealousy, delusions about infidelity. Cleve himself notes Edgar's devious intelligence, but also his considerable charm, a dangerous mix.
Extremely. So Max, the orderly, Victorian-loving husband, makes a fateful decision.
He does. In trying to impose order, maybe even ownership, he commissions Edgar, this dangerous, charming patient, to restore the hospital's ornate Victorian garden conservatory.
Wow, so he literally brings the danger right to his doorstep. He links Stella, his wife, his sort of property in that Victorian mindset.
To Edgar, Max's restoration project, Cleve's volatile patient, it's almost too perfect a setup.
And the tension flares up almost immediately, right? At that hospital dance.
It does. It's a key scene. Stella shows up in this striking black silk dress, very low cut apparently, and she makes a point of dancing, quite briskly, with Edgar.
And the source notes Edgar's movements are different. Not like the other patients who are sort of hampered by medication. He moves well.
Exactly. Stella even tells Cleve later, he danced like a dream. There's this immediate, powerful pull towards something untamed, something Max clearly isn't.
Which seems to lead straight into the next phase, this courtship in the garden.
Right, which Stella tries to frame, even to herself, as just befriending a patient. It's her way of rationalizing crossing a massive boundary right there in the heart of Max's controlled world.
But there's that one moment, isn't there, where the rationalization just crumbles.
Oh, absolutely. When she sees Edgar lift her son Charlie, who's 10, onto a spade shaft. It's playful, but...
But she focuses on Edgar's hands. Long, slender, delicate, the text says, and his animal vitality.
It's everything Max isn't. Raw strength, a kind of dangerous energy. That seems to be the trigger.
And then the art connection. He sketches her.
Yes, but it's not a simple likeness. It's described as a strange sketch, all smudged lines, not at all naturalistic. It's like the art itself is reflecting this blurred, dangerous path she's heading down.
Almost giving her permission for what happens next.
Which is the affair itself. It starts, quite bluntly according to the source, after Edgar simply suggests it. And fittingly, it happens in the conservatory.
Hidden just by a low stone wall. Very risky.
And the description of the sex is intense, urgent, and primitive, driven by hunger and instinct. Stella is apparently intoxicated by this feeling of being beyond the law.
But the law, or rather the danger, isn't just about getting caught. It's about Edgar himself. We can't forget why he's there.
Absolutely crucial. He killed his first wife, Ruth. And not over actual proof, but because of his own delusions, his morbid jealousy, he twisted tiny things.
What were they? You mentioned them earlier.
Yeah, things like hearing a toilet flush or seeing a stain on the floor. He retrospectively made them into evidence to justify the murder in his own mind. He had zero insight into his own pathology.
And that pathology is what Stella's now tangled up with. It's like a time bomb.
Which inevitably goes off when Edgar escapes. And the way he does it, it's not just running away.
No, it's deeply personal. He steals Max's clothes, including a jacket that has the estate keys in the pocket.
It's a total violation. Psychologically and practically, Max, predictably, is focused on the stolen items, the keys, the breach of order.
While Stella is already caught up in the drama, the romance of him being a fugitive.
And she follows him, meets him in London in this warehouse loft on Horsey Street. Nick, Edgar's friend, helps set it up.
And she tries to romanticize it, right? The squalor.
Oh, completely. She sees the griminess, the danger as intrinsic to the artist's existence. She's really forcing this narrative onto the situation.
Trying to make it fit her fantasy, but reality bites back pretty quickly, doesn't it?
It really does. The romance dissolves fast under the pressure of being fugitives. She's worried sick about her son, Charlie, and Edgar. Well, Edgar becomes Edgar again.
The paranoia resurfaces.
Exactly. His core delusion kicks back in. He starts accusing Stella of sleeping with Nick, his friend. It's the same pattern as with his first wife, Ruth. He even calls Stella an animal, a whore, just like he did Ruth, retroactively rewriting reality.
It's chilling how quickly that happens. The jealousy is just fundamental to him.
And then comes the violence. It shifts from this intense, maybe warped passion to just aggression. During one encounter, fueled by his anxiety and suspicion, he slaps her face.
And the source says they don't stop. That moment seems to confirm everything she'd tried to ignore. This wasn't a simple crime of passion with Ruth. It was pathology.
And she was just the next target. That seems to be the breaking point for her.
She flees the loft, gets picked up by the police eventually.
And then she has to face Max again. His reaction is complicated. Initially, he tries that narrative of her being a victim, seduced and abandoned.
But that doesn't last long.
No. The bitterness sets in, especially when the whole scandal costs him his chance at the superintendent job. That's a huge blow to his ambition, his sense of order.
So career and social standing trump everything else.
Pretty much. He packs up the family and moves them off to Wales, to this cold, isolated place. It feels like a punishment, not a reconciliation.
And this bleak setting becomes the backdrop for the absolute worst part of the story, Cledwen Heath.
Yes. The final catastrophe.
Yeah.
Max and Stella are out walking, and their son, Charlie, he drowns.
It's horrific. And Stella's reaction, or lack of it, is key. The source describes her just standing nearby, smoking a cigarette, making no noise.
Still, Max's question afterwards is devastating in its simplicity. He just asks, "Why didn't you shout?"
And her defense, what she claims happened.
She claims she saw Edgar in the water, not Charlie. A complete psychological break, or maybe a desperate constructed defense. Either way, the community sees her reaction as
Unnatural. Monstrous.
or just plain mad. She becomes an outcast.
And that's when Dr. Cleave steps back into the picture in a major way.
Yes. Our narrator takes charge. He brings Stella into his care, into the female wing of the very asylum she fled, and he needs to manage this situation legally and socially.
So he uses his professional tools. Diagnosis.
Exactly. He steers away from anything implying intent or murder. He favors diagnoses like hysterical illness or the classic Medea complex.
The Medea complex. That's the mother harming the child out of rage against the father, right?
Essentially, yes. Or failing to save them as an act of revenge. By using these clinical labels, Cleave is effectively controlling her narrative, maybe even protecting her from prosecution, but certainly containing her within the system.
Which leads to that final, profound irony, the title of the work itself, Asylum.
Because Stella starts to find the hospital, the place of confinement, genuinely comforting, a safe place, an escape from the unbearable reality and guilt outside.
Peace through confinement. It's a disturbing thought.
And it's in this controlled safety that Cleave makes his final, decisive move.
He proposes marriage.
He does. Offers her permanent asylum, not just in the hospital, but in his life, his ordered, cultured world. He's even arranged for Max to agree to a divorce. He presents it as offering her salvation, thinking she'll bring light and grace to his life.
But does he really believe she's found peace or gratitude? Cleve, the expert on psychological masks.
That's the twist. He harbors this deep cynicism. He believes her composure, her compliance, it's all just a masquerade.
Hiding what?
Hiding an ongoing, desperate obsession with Edgar Stark. Not remorse for Charlie, not love or gratitude for Cleve, just Edgar.
So Cleve isn't her savior, he's more like her collector.
That's exactly how it feels, especially with the final details from the source. Cleve reveals Edgar was recaptured, and when the police questioned Edgar about Stella, his reaction was complex.
What did Edgar say?
First, contempt. Called her an animal, a whore, echoing his earlier delusions. But then, desperation. He pleaded, "Let me see her."
Did Cleve let him?
No. Cleve completely ignored the request. He ensures Stella remains trapped with her idealized, maybe obsessive memory of Edgar, forever separated from the dangerous reality of the man himself. Cleve maintains control.
And the ultimate symbol of that control.
It's chilling. Cleve retrieves Edgar's sculpture of Stella from the police evidence. This tiny bronze head, no bigger than my hand, apparently filled with anguish.
And Cleve's final words in the narrative.
Utterly possessive. So you see, I do have my Stella after all, and I still, of course, have him. He owns the woman, or his idea of her, and he possesses the art born from his rival's obsession and agony.
Wow. So we've gone from the asylum's drawing rooms to the London squalor and right back to the institution's padded safety, all mediated by obsession and control.
It's quite a journey. Stella seems to move from being Max's conventional property to being the object of Edgar's violent delusion, and finally, she becomes Dr. Cleve's prized psychological specimen.
So it really makes you, the listener, question what asylum truly means here. Is it the physical safety of the walls, the control exerted by a professional like Cleve?
Or is it found in surrendering completely to a passion, even a destructive one like Stella's, for Edgar? The source really suggests the most confining asylum might be the one inside your own head, whether it's imposed by others or embrace yourself.
And that final thought Cleve leaves us with, he thinks he's brought her peace, but he also knows, or believes he knows, that her grief for Charlie is a performance.
A performance hiding her unwavering obsession with Edgar. So the question we leave you with is this. What's ultimately more terrifying? The patient's potential madness seeing her lover in the waves where his son drowned, or the psychiatrist's cold, calculated control, the man who diagnoses her, proposes marriage, and secretly cherishes the tormented sculpture of her made by her lover, believing he possesses them both.
That calculated pathology, maybe that's the real horror story here, something unsettling to think about.